How is it Monday night again and we're still at camp? I wish I had camp that went this long when I was a kid. I mean, I didn't even do overnight camp. Well, I think we have one overnight. I don't even know. I don't know. But today's May 18th, 2020. It's almost Memorial Day weekend. The sun just set, so I mean, proof that it is staying light out later, which is crazy. I don't know if anybody saw my cooking video, but my cooking video was pretty amazing because it showed you that I do cook. I don't just order takeout. I'm not sure if anyone saw it or if they want the recipe to my sauerkraut sandwich, but I'm willing to give it to you if you really want it. So today, I'm really excited. I'm on a few minutes earlier than normal, so I'm sure that I still have some peeps over on Sean Morton's page. What's up, Petey? My brother is here from Texas. Come on, little doggy. Pete, I should have brought my chopsticks up to show everybody. I actually used my chopsticks. My brother, what's up, Peter? Peter is in Houston, and he saw that one night I made a comment that I loved eating dinner with chopsticks because I feel like it makes me eat less because it is eating and a workout, a mental and physical workout to try to connect the brain to use the chopsticks. And yes, sauerkraut rocks. Okay, I don't know if you saw the video. Did you see the video, Peter? So what I did was, I'll just tell you all my sauerkraut cooking secrets. Okay? I took some sauerkraut. I cut open the package. I plopped it in a frying pan. And I put the heat underneath it. Then I took 2 hot dog rolls. And I decided to warm them up. Pete, did you happen to see the video and see what happened and what the problem was for me? Just curious if anybody noticed what I may or may not have done. But I saturated my hot dog buns. It was kind of gross for a minute, but then let me see if I can get a picture for you of my sauerkraut debacle. I'll show it to you. I put a video up on Instagram and Facebook because that's what I do now. I document my entire life. Like, it's pretty crazy actually how many parts of my life are on Facebook and Instagram. So this is me not very long ago, obviously pre-lipstick. My daughter used the pan and I didn't care. Actually, I'm sorry, not the pan, the what's that thing called that you move the stuff around with? The spatula. Okay? And let me tell you something right now. This is high tech. I put the buns right in. Problem is, a lot of liquid in that sauerkraut. So then, you know what the next problem was? How do I dry out my buns? Not what a lot of people are asking. Have I tried meatless hot dogs, Shari? No. Because the idea of a meatless hot dog freaks me out. Like, what do they make the hot dog out of if it's not meat? Like, I've gone to football games. I go to MetLife Stadium, which I like to call Jet Life Stadium because I love the Jets. And I will pay full price for a hot dog. And I ask the people, please give the hot dog to somebody that's hungry. Give a man online behind me a double dog with no extra charge. All I want is sauerkraut, a bun, and mustard. That's it. It does exist. Yes, they do exist. Kind of like a meatless hamburger. Huh? Like a veggie dog? Is that what you're saying? Like, what possibly is in a veggie dog? Is it a carrot? Like, I don't know. I don't. No, I just eat like the bun, sauerkraut, relish, mustard. That's it. Yeah, that's good enough for me. So anyhow, guys, I don't know how your weekend was. I wasn't here last night. I took the night off because I just wanted to like relax a little bit, which was amazing. I hope you had a great night. But I will tell you, I have big stuff coming up for next week. I decided I'm going to save the world yet again. We'll talk about that later. Tonight, I have a huge treat for everybody. I am third person into my series. Actually, if you want to go, if you really want to throw it back before I had this amazing technology of side-by-side screen stuff, okay? I had Christine Grillon was one of the first people I actually had on an interview that was a comedian. And I had Andy Glazer. I'm on once a week with Tracy Locke. And I thought to myself, this is fun. Because when you are at a comedy club and at a show, not necessarily do you get to hang out with the comics on stage. First of all, it is completely, well, it's frowned upon. You can't talk through people's sets. That's not nice. So there's people that I've gotten the chance to meet, but you take selfies. I take selfies with everybody. You know, I love that. Hi, Courtney. And yeah, Courtney right now, I made the best sauerkraut sandwich ever and mustard. So if ever you get worried about me not having any food, just toss me a bag of sauerkraut. Make sure I have mustard. I actually garnished the plate with a pickle. And I was a little bit redundant because I did have relish also, but yeah. But going back to it, you never really get to talk to comics. So I started last week more seriously interviewing comics on my 8 o'clock show, because why not? It's so much fun. And I know there's so many fans of comedy out here that watch what I do and everything else. So yeah. So I had Natty Bumpercar Friday. I had Sean Morton Saturday? No, Thursday and then Friday. Saturday, I don't even know what day is it. It's all big, like one big day. It's one big day. And I want to see who else is going to come on. But when I asked the other day who would be willing to come on, one of the sweetest guys I've met in comedy was one of the first people to jump up. Well, I don't know if he jumped. I mean, he might not jump. I'll find out. We'll find out. He might have jumped. In my mind, he jumped. I don't know now that I think about it if he would be a jumper. But he actually like wrote in like very quickly. And he was like, I'll do it. And I was like, yes. And then I remembered that we were booked together. I was having a benefit show, or no, I was having a show where it was going to be at the Oakley, and he was on my show along with Suzanne Stein was headlining. And of course, you know, from the Shining Wizards, Kevin, and he was on the show. And then Bupkis, this happened. And now I produce shows from my kid's old room. And if you saw around me, it's not that glamorous. Right now, there's a ton of books because I read every day. I've tripped more times than I could tell you. I do have a really great stash of tasty cakes in the corner. And of course, a beverage. How could you not have a beverage? It's camp. We're sneaking it in. We're the counselors, right? You think you might know who it is? Courtney, I love you. But if you can read what's on the top of this page, it pretty much is a dead giveaway of who it is. I don't even know if I feel like waiting till 8:15. I think I want to bring him on now. I don't think I can wait. I think we've waited long enough. Do you guys think we've waited long enough? I do. I want you to please help me welcome, without further ado, because I can't clap and open a beer. I'm just not that talented yet. Please help me welcome Mr. Jeff Greenberg. Here it comes. Hey, Jeff.
All right.
Yes, I'm so
Donna Vee. What's going on?
So happy you're here, Jeff.
I'm happy to be here. I'm actually happy to be anywhere. I'm happy to be above dirt. That's really what it comes down to.
Amen to that.
I don't ask for much. I don't get much, but I'm still alive.
I hope so, because if not, then I'm a medium, and that's pretty cool. I wouldn't mind that, but I'm glad that you're actually here.
Mm-hmm. You're a medium?
Well, I could be. I always say I'm a comedian because sometimes I do get like things from the dead, but like you're obviously alive, and I love the fact that we're matching.
I once went to this medium group, and all of a sudden, like my Uncle Seymour, who's been dead since 1983, came through, and I said to the medium, he can't be coming through and talking to me. He didn't talk to me when I was alive. When he was alive. I think he just wanted the $50 I owed him or something like that.
Exactly. My mom is on, and she says, "Hello, Donna and Jeff Greenberg."
Hello, Mom. All right.
That's awesome. So, Jeff Greenberg, I'm so excited that you're here with me and you agreed to do this. And were you jumping up and down?
I tell you, I really enjoy this. I mean, yeah, obviously, we all would rather be at the clubs and performing live, but I enjoy just still talking with people on the different Zoom meetings and trying to, entertain people, keep some stuff fresh, write some new things, and and just look forward to one day going back to the way things were, because I did a lot of the comedy clubs, and they were always like bringers. Those bringer clubs. You're supposed to bring
Yes.
people. Well, when things got really bad with the virus, when you bring six, it could have been pallbearers. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's gonna be. Oh my God. And Daria Stevens says hi, Jeff. We got fans out here.
Oh, fans! Oh my
Yeah,
God!
I know, right?
Yeah.
So we have our first question for you, Jeff.
Go ahead, ask away.
Where are you from?
Well, actually, I was born in Louisville, Kentucky. Believe it or not,
I've
September
never
9th,
been.
1958. Yeah, I'm up there. I'm up there. I'm getting old.
No, I meant about Louisville. Like,
Louisville, yeah, I think I was the only Jew in Louisville at the time.
oh my God.
My father was in the army in
Okay.
Louisville. Serving the army, and the old joke. I wanted to be close to my mother. So that was it. But I was only there for a few months. But I've been in New Jersey all my life, basically.
Okay.
So that's I went to started out Central Jersey around New Brunswick. Right near Rutgers. That's where I was until I was 9 years old. And then we moved to Livingston, 1967. I graduated from Livingston High.
Oh, we have so much more to talk about now. First of all, Jessica Miranda, a fellow comic, says hello, comedian.
Hello. All right.
Where in Livingston? You don't have to give me your exact street address. Did you grow up? Because I delivered pizza in Livingston.
Oh, okay. Well, we're at the corner of Wardell Road and Falcon Road, like a block off of Northfield in the Collins School District there.
Okay. Did you?
Not too far from the Northfield Center.
Yeah. Did you ever order pizza from Firehouse Pizzeria?
Yeah, not far from there. So, I still go to Livingston a lot. I have friends, a number of friends that live in Livingston that stayed in town and always at the Ritz Diner.
Yes.
There, it's one of my favorite places.
But wait, I delivered pizza for the Firehouse Pizzeria in a cheerleading skirt.
Wow, that's great. All right, yeah. So that's what I get. So, my claim to fame was I graduated with Jason Alexander from Seinfeld. That was
Wow.
Yeah, Jay Greenspan was his real name. So that's my claim to fame. We were in a few classes together.
I was gonna say, did you talk to him? Like, was he?
Yeah, it was very nice. I was like, yeah, we good sense of humor, and appreciate each other's humor, and a nice signature from him in my yearbook. Just he wrote a lot of nice things in my yearbook.
And you know what? I have to ask, did he have hair?
He had more hair than he has now, but not a lot. He didn't. It's funny because he didn't look that much different now than he did in high school. He looked. So he didn't change much. He didn't age. He aged fairly well, except for the hair, but he aged facial wise. I think he did well.
Or he finally aged into his age, because I can't imagine a high school kid looking like Jason Alexander.
Yeah. But some people look older when they're young. It's kind of like my grandmother. My grandmother, when she was 90, looked the same as when she was 50. You know what I mean? It was like 40 years whether you could. I looked at the pictures; they were the exact same. 40 years went by. My grandmother, I saw wedding pictures of my grandmother from the early 1920s, and she looked like she was 54. You know what I mean? So even at the age of 20, so she was always old. I mean, you know what it is when you come from the old country, you come from Russia. Sometimes you just have that weather-beaten older look, even when you're young.
Well,
I guess she was chased around and clobbered by the Cossacks too much there in Russia, and that's kind of ages you a little bit.
well, yeah, I would think that would make you anxious and nervous and wrinkly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have two younger sisters. I have my sister Linda, who, because I live in Wayne, she lives in Pompton Plains, and she's a teacher. She teaches French, so she's like 3 years younger than me. And then I have my sister Allison, who is she's 6 years younger than me, and she lives in right outside of Valley Forge State Park in
Wow.
Pennsylvania. So yeah, so I was the firstborn. The question always came up growing up is that after I was born, what were your parents thinking? Did you figure like quit while we're behind, like, or it can only go up from here? What was the logic after I came onto the planet Earth? That was.
You have a very funny sense of humor, and I want to ask you, so where do you get your sense of humor from?
Both my parents have good sense of humor, but my mother's always been very funny. And knock on wood, both my parents are they're still with us.
That's great.
In fact, yesterday we were all on. We had a Zoom graduation party for my niece who graduated law school from Georgetown Law. So very proud of her.
Very cool. Congratulations.
And all my other relatives, as she was growing up, kept telling her, "Just look at your Uncle Jeff and do the opposite." I go,
Come on,
yeah.
Jeff.
In life, Jenna, do the opposite of Jeff. No, but it was good. It was good. But yeah, so that's how they. So both of my, so they live outside of Valley Forge. So my parents are. My father's still very sharp as a tack. He's 80. He's going to be 86 actually at the end of this month on May 27th.
Wow. Happy birthday to Mr. Greenberg.
Yeah, really, yeah. They were very young when I was born. They were married. I think my mother was 19 and my father was like 20 on there. So
Wow. So then what made you get into comedy? Was it because your mom, like what were your influences? What made you get into it and how did you start?
I've always been I consider like a funny guy. I was always very easygoing, quick one-liners, things like that, and always telling jokes. And so, my first, even though professionally, I've only been doing it for a little over a year on stage. But believe it or not, my first appearance was at my friend Murray Voloshin's bar mitzvah, where they hired Sandy Hackett. Again, this is like 1972, I think. They hired Buddy Hackett's son, Sandy Hackett.
I know Buddy Hackett, but Sandy Hackett.
Yeah, that's his son, who also became a comedian. And this is at the Crystal Plaza in Livingston. You know the Crystal Plaza?
Yes, of course I do.
Right. They had it there. And they decided instead of having a band, because it was kosher on a Saturday during the day, you couldn't have a band, but you could have a comedian, which was actually very typical of bar mitzvahs like in Russia. And they would have comics. And what happened was Sandy Hackett got stuck in traffic, and Murray's mother asked me to get up there and tell jokes until he got there.
Come on, that is so cool.
Doing jokes and impersonations here and there, so just it worked out good. But I've always been so busy doing mortgages and everything, but I always had a desire to do comedy, but I just never did it. I just I've done things like I was on a company cruise. We had a sales contest. And the president of the company, the mortgage company, said to me, "Jeff, I just want to let you know you're going to be opening for the Drifters. We hired the Drifters to be up, and we want you to just go up and tell jokes." I said, "All right, that's fine." This is like I think this is like 2002, something like that. And so I've done different things at Christmas parties for companies, different things like that. But how I got into it, doing it on stage, was Robin Lakin.
Oh, I love Robin.
Yeah, well, Robin I've known for a while, and she's been doing stand-up, I guess, for about 8 years or so. But I went to school with her husband Jeff. We graduated Livingston High together. We were in Hebrew school. I knew him since I was about
the shirt.
12 years old. We went to Temple Beth Shalom, a Hebrew school, and they live right in town. And Robin kept saying, "Jeff, I got to get you on stage. I got to get you on stage. You're too funny." Could you watch my Facebook posts? I always try to write some funny things, little musings on Facebook. And so finally, it was last April. She said I went up there for 5 minutes at the Broadway Comedy Club.
Yep.
Pretty well, really enjoyed it, and I kept doing more. I was probably doing about maybe 5-6 shows per month after that until everything shut down. And then I really love, Tierney's is probably my favorite place.
Love that room.
Yeah, that's great. Room. It's just a great atmosphere and close by, great people, and
Pat is such a great, Pat's great. Young comics out, new comics.
Yeah, I love it.
Did it. Yeah.
they put a good mix of people there, and good burgers. I have to say, they're I always get there early, grab my burger while I'm setting up the chairs and tables and everything, and take a few bites from my cheeseburger. But it's good.
I'm lucky because I know the guy downstairs from when I was a kid, and Kenny will actually at the end of the night, if he knows like I missed the food train, he'll
Right.
make me a cheese sandwich because he knows I'm like the no trouble. Give me a bag, throw a bag of chips at my face, and give me some cold American cheese on white bread, and I'm actually okay.
Right. Yeah.
One of the things I love about you, I've seen you do some, and you have to excuse me. And I know I mentioned it earlier when we were talking a little bit. I always get it confused, impersonations or impressions. And you do some really funny stuff. And I'd love you to expand upon that if you don't mind.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've always had, one of those voices and looks I can do different people. Since I was a little kid, I started doing impersonations, and impersonations more like the vocal,
Okay.
impersonating. Where sometimes the impression is where you're doing part of an act. Let's say if somebody's doing Michael Jackson, they're doing like a moonwalk.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know, I'm more like the Rich Little type. Just
Uh-huh.
with the voices. So, since I was a kid, I think eighth grade, kids would come up to me and say, "Hey, you look like Rodney Dangerfield."
In eighth grade, they said that?
Since eighth grade, when he started becoming popular right around when I was in like eighth grade or so. They thought I looked like Rodney, so I decided, I'm going to just learn the voice and do do a little bit of Rodney. So people come up to me, they're like surprised.
I
So
thought it was hilarious when I saw you. I was like, look at that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, you look like Rodney Dangerfield. What are you talking about, kid? What are you talking about? Good crowd, good crowd. I tell you, nothing's going good. Nothing's going good, Donna. Last week the guy stole my identity. When he realized it was me, he gave it back. You know what I mean? I tell you, you're all right. I,
I love that when you do that. I love when you do that.
you know, I do some other things. I do. What the problem is? Most of the people I do are long deceased. They're long. Like a lot of the millennials sometimes don't get the kind of things that I do, impersonations. But I'll do like the Three Stooges. You the Three Stooges fan?
I love that. I love that. My whole family.
I got an uncle in Cairo. He's a chiropractor. We went to Tunis and had a tuna sandwich. Remind me to murder you later. I'll make a note of it. Actually, if Mo was around now, if Mo was around, with all the social distancing, he'd just be going around going, spread out. Hey, spread out, porcupine. Right, spread out would be the key words here.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, Larry, a lot of people say I do one of the better Larrys from the Three Stooges. Larry Fine. He's one of my idols, Larry Fine. I never got to meet him, but he died in 1974. But anyway, oh no, a flat tire. Hey, don't worry, Mo. It's only flat on the bottom.
Oh my God, that is so funny. My daughter just wrote in, and it's exactly what I'm thinking. Where is my Uncle Charlie, and where is my dad? Because I'm gonna have to send this to them because they love the Three Stooges. My brother's watching; he loves it too. But you are so good at that.
Also, a lot of people don't like Shemp. You remember Shemp from the Three Stooges?
Yeah.
He wasn't as popular as Curly, but Shemp actually off stage was considered the funniest of all the Stooges. He was most naturally funny, and a lot of the gags that they did, Shemp came up with them, like the eye poking. Anyway, but he also did this. He was also known for he had this snoring, the special snoring that Shemp did. So one time I was at this networking meeting. We had about 100 people there at this networking meeting, and there was this guy there who was a doctor who specialized in sleep disorders. So I never met him before, and I came up to him and I said, "Listen, doc, you got to help me because people are telling me that I snore just like Shemp from the Three Stooges." He says, "Well, what is Shemp? What does he sound like? What kind of snore?" I'll give you an example. It's like this. He was like looking at me like I was sitting. I was trying to be deadpan, like this is what actually it was not a joke. And he was like, "Oh my god!" Then finally, I fessed up. I said, "No, I didn't."
It's so funny because I knew it because I'm telling you, I'm having flashbacks of listening to and watching the Three Stooges. That's very funny. That's very funny. But what about if you did not, and I mean this with all the respect in the world, but like you said, even though you get no respect and stuff, I couldn't even try to do the voice. But what about if you did market that to like an older crowd? Like people are always trying to entertain people that are a little bit older. 'Cause that's really good and it's
Well, it's
fun.
funny because I was actually booked to do some assisted living facilities,
Yeah.
and and before I could do them, everything closed down because of the virus. But that's what happened. Because I was going to go in there and do all my old timers stuff. My Jimmy, James Cagney. This time of year when you have Memorial Day and you have 4th of July. I'm a big James Cagney fan. You like James Cagney, Donna? You like?
I think I do, but I can't. I'm trying to think of what.
I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Yes.
Yankee Doodle do or die. Our real life nephew, my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. That's right. That's right. Okay.
That is so
Well,
good.
I want to tell you something. The old timers love me, and and I have done some performances from seniors here and there, and they clap with their walkers. That's I can
Oh
tell.
my God, that's hilarious.
That's just the. But I know they do appreciate that. I do.
Yeah, they like it because the humor.
The honeymooners doing that on it, like Ralph Cramden.
I love them.
I do a little honeymooners for you.
Okay.
Norton, from now on, me and you are deadly enemies. I don't want to know from you. I don't want to see you. You see me coming down the street? Get on the other side. When you come down the street, there ain't no other side. Bang, zoom. $62 a week. $62 a week. $62 a week. Alice, will you stop? I don't want my salary to leak out. Your salary couldn't drip out. Yeah. Bang, zoom. Little honeymooners for you.
That's very good. Everybody is going crazy. And by the way,
Jimmy Stewart, you like Jimmy Stewart? You watch It's a
I do.
Wonderful Life during Christmas time?
Love it. Love it.
The answer is no. See, you sit there, you spin your little web, you think the whole world revolves around you and your money. See, well, it doesn't. In the vast configuration of things, you're nothing but a scurvy little spider. Judge Bailey once called me a wolf's frustrated old man. Look at you. Yeah, you're worth more dead than alive. Well, that's it. It's like I have like 1940s movies Tourette. I don't know what's going on with me.
Yeah, but that's hilarious. That's very funny, actually. That's very funny. And people are going crazy. People love it. And also, Anthony Carini says, hi.
Hey, Anthony.
Yeah. Jessica Miranda loves Gleason and thinks that your impersonations are great. And
Right.
you're so funny. My mom's loving this. My mom said, oh my God, he's great. So just so you know, when we open back up again, I will be booking you again. And my mother's going to want to go to the show for you now, not for me.
Me too. Do you enjoy like old time singers?
Yes.
Okay, I'm big fans of people like Al Jolson, Bing Crosby. I'll give you a little Jolson. In fact, we're supposed to have the International Al Jolson Society convention in Baltimore this past weekend, but we had to do a virtual one. But I'll do a little Swanee, how I love you, my dear old Swanee. I give the world to be among the folks in the IXIEI. And then I do Bing Crosby, like Bing Crosby.
Yeah.
Always watch Bing Crosby.
Right.
Christmas time, Holiday Inn, Christmas. Like oh ra la la ra, oh ra la ra la, oh ra la la ra. Hush, now don't you cry. But how about the Jimmy? How about you? How about you watch Frosty the Snowman at Christmas time?
I love Frosty.
Frosty the Snowman. Well, I'm a big Jimmy Durante fan.
Okay.
Frosty the Snowman had to hurry on his way, and he said goodbye, and don't you cry. I'll be back on Christmas Day. Oh, thank you.
That's like my favorite one. That was amazing.
You like that? All right. I love Jimmy's. Jimmy Durante. He's he's one of my favorite entertainers. Him, Eddie Cantor. You're too young to remember some of these, right? You're too young.
Well, Eddie Cantor, I don't think I know who it is, but maybe if I heard the voice.
Do you know that Eddie Cantor? Here's a little nugget for you. A little nugget. about Eddie Cantor. Eddie Cantor was the only human being depicted on a Macy's Thanksgiving Day balloon, 1934. There's the Eddie Cantor balloon. No human being before or after on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade was from a real human being.
Wow.
So that's how big of a star he was, Eddie.
Wow. What did he sound like?
If you knew Susie like I know Susie, oh, what a gal. Another bride, another June, another sunny honeymoon, another reason, another season for making whoopee.
Oh, I knew that one. I knew it. As you're
saying YouTube and just go look up Eddie Cantor. He's one of the greatest entertainers, and people don't even know him. He was like huge.
I'm gonna look up a picture and put it up for us. I need to know, where did you get all of this knowledge from? Like, how do you know? So, like, did you love watching movies as a kid? Like, you'd had to.
I was a big fan of old time comedy. Since I was a kid, I used to watch Abbott and Costello.
Oh, yeah.
If you remember, Channel 11 used to always have at 11:30 on Sunday mornings before the Yankees would come on would be the Abbott and Costello movie from 11:31. It became Abbott and Costello. At Saturdays, I watched the Bowery Boys on Channel 5, in New York. Remember the Bowery Boys, Hunts Hall, remember them?
No.
They were big in the 1940s, 50s.
Look, this is Eddie Cantor?
That's Eddie Cantor, yeah. That's it. It was a huge Broadway. Him and Al Jolson were like the two biggest stars from the 1920s. I mean, Jolson started before Cantor, and they did perform together on each other's radio shows and whatnot. But
you get a shout out from a friend, George Mugel. Is that how you say it?
Hey, he's my buddy from the Jolson Society.
Hi, how are you? I hope you're okay.
George does a great Jolson. He performed. We have the conventions and the festivals. George gets up there and he'll do a couple songs, a couple Jolson ditties.
Wow. This is opening up a whole new world to me. I didn't even know there were conventions for anyone like that.
Yeah, I'm just I love just old time movies, and singers, just different entertainers. I'm great. What's great about Facebook, and there's a lot of these groups that have all kinds of pictures and stories about these different people. So try not to forget them. Back in that day, you really had to have talent. Before there was all this YouTube stuff.
I agree. Before they altered your voice or they, super did whatever to your face, you just had to be you.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. I respect that. Yeah.
I'm a Sinatra fan. I love Frank Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald and all the great stand. That's why I love like Sirius Radio, because I could just walk around Packanack Lake and Wayne and I'll just listen to all my favorites come on.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you have anything that you might want to share with us besides that amazingness, a fact that somebody might not know about Jeff Greenberg?
Oh, okay. I was on Wonderama. Remember Wonderama?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I was on. This was like I think this is 1968. I was on, so I was 10 years old, and it was so popular back then that it was not only on Sundays, but it was on all week. It was on for an hour each week. So we did a taping on a Thursday, taped all day, and then 2 weeks later they would show it on Channel 5. But I won all these prizes. I won more than anybody because I don't know what it was. They had me on the makeup session. Remember the makeup session?
I don't remember every part of it. I remember the show.
Yeah. I was on with Bob McAllister was hosting at the time. And I was on with my sister Linda. So she was, I think, 7 at the time. She hardly won anything, and she was hardly on camera. It was kind of like a horseshoe face, where the audience was. She was on the left wing, and I was in the center. So I got to be on camera a lot. But she got very jealous. She was crying because she didn't win much, and I won so many different things. The Johnny Speedmobile, it was like a car racing dashboard. And then remember the Archies? Remember the cartoon, the Archies?
Yes.
I won these musical instruments, these little plastic musical instruments that the Archies would play. I won that, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was great.
We have a question. My mom wants to know who was the guy with the duck?
Oh, Groucho Marx. You're talking about You Bet Your Life? You know, when the say
Didn't
the
he have a
secret
monocle?
$100. Is it Groucho Marx?
Right? Didn't he have a monocle or
Well,
any?
you had the glasses, the Groucho glasses, and but yeah, I do. I'm a big Marx Brothers fan too. I love the Marx Brothers. You know, so not to get a little too dirty, but one of the most famous things about Groucho Marx because he did the show, You Bet Your Life, which was like a comedy game show, and he would
Okay.
interview guests. And again, the show started around 1949 on radio, and then was on television up until like the late 50s. And one time, this woman was being interviewed, and so Groucho was saying, "So tell me about yourself, Mrs. Schwartz." He says, "Well, Groucho, I have 16 children." 16 children? Why, how do you account for all this? Well, Groucho, I love my husband. Well, I love my cigar, but I take it out of my mouth every once in a while.
Ah,
You know, but he was actually taken off the air for a short amount of time because of that. Because that was, in the early late 40s, early 50s, that was very risque. Now it's considered nothing, but back then that was a big thing.
yeah.
For him to say that.
But that's amazing. What a cool memory. My
I'm
mother
a
said
big
yes.
Groucho fan. Love the Marx Brothers.
Yeah, my mom said yes. She was excited that you got that, and she couldn't remember who it was, and that was amazing.
Oh, there you go.
Say that.
Mhm.
My brother said Duck Soup was the first Groucho Marx movie that my dad introduced me to.
Duck Soup was a great movie. That was the very early Marx Brothers movies, in my opinion, were the best. My favorite one was Horse Feathers. That was 1932. That's where Groucho played Professor Quincy Adams Wagstaff from Huxley College.
Oh, I
You
don't
know,
know.
Duck Soup was a year later, but that was very good. But yeah, no, they were great. I mean, I had them all on DVD. I watched them every now and then. But the early Marx Brothers films were hysterical. I mean, they were.
I'm gonna check it out. I don't think I've ever really.
Got to check them out because especially the first time you see them, you just realize how talented they were. How the comedy writing was fantastic, and they just and all four brothers were all different from each other. They weren't. They all, Harpo never spoke. His was more mime humor,
Right.
and the Groucho had most of the lines. I mean, he had a lot of the funny, quick lines. All that. Chico played like a guy who was always gambling, always with the ladies, and this and that. They all had their own little personalities.
With Harpo, Chico, Groucho, and who else?
Yeah, Groucho, Chico, or sometimes they refer to as Chico. Harpo, and then Zeppo was the youngest of the Marx. Now, Zeppo was only in the first few Marx Brothers films. He left the group. He basically worked as managing them for the most part after like the first few movies. Once their contract ended with Paramount, I think it was like 1933, and they signed on with MGM. That's when Zeppo left. I'm a big fan.
That's amazing. You know so much stuff.
I'm a fountain of useless information, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I think it's fascinating. Before I ask this other question,
Great, of course, one of my idols. Remember the Joe Franklin? Joe Franklin show? On Channel 9, and he had the talk show at 11 in the morning. They would repeat it at 2 in the morning, and he had like really eclectic guests on. He would talk like this, Donna Vee. Next time we'll have you on for the full hour. He was like the king of nostalgia.
it sounds familiar, but I don't.
He was kind of very short. He always made fun of us. Saturday Night Live. Remember they had that Billy Crystal played him on Saturday Night Live.
What's the name again? Joe Franklin?
Franklin, yeah, Joe. He passed away about 4 years ago.
All right, I'm looking him up.
And I knew him fairly well from the Jolson Society. He would be an honorary member and come to the.
Oh yes.
Remember him? He invented the talk show. Don. Yeah, that's him. That's him. The great Joe Frank. He was like really a Mr. New York. He just he had an incredible collection of records, really old things from like 1912, 1915. He had a radio show on Saturday nights, called Memory Lane on WOR 710 on Saturday nights. And I used to go to sleep and listen to Joe Franklin play some grass. So I became like a big Jolson fan. But Bing Crosby, when I would listen to it, again, this goes back to like the mid 1970s. It's before CDs were even invented. And I used to run into Manhattan to go to like Footlight Records and buy some old but in good shape Al Jolson, Bing Crosby records, and Harry Richmond, all kinds of really old things, you know. And I became just a big fan. A lot of it was
so cool.
fun. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wait, somebody has a question, but I want to ask. Wait, so the Marx Brothers were really brothers?
Oh, they were really brothers. Yes. Yeah. Julia. Their real names weren't Groucho. Those were, but their real names were, you know, Julius Marx was Groucho.
Wow.
You know. Same thing with the Three Stooges. You know, they would, you know, Curly really wasn't Curly. It was really.
No, but they were brothers?
They were all, no, Mo, Curly, and Shemp were all brothers. Larry was not related, but Mo, Curly, and Shemp. Believe it or not, originally started with Shemp when they entertained, but Shemp was considered the most talented, and he was much more in demand to work movies. And he left the group before they were able to get a contract. Before you saw those Three Stooges shorts,
yeah,
they only had two Stooges left. It was just Mo and Larry, and that's when they decided to bring younger brother Curly on, Jerry or Curly, because Shemp left the group to go work with Vitaphone on the Joe Palooka films with Jimmy Durante. You know, so that's how. But Curly was the most beloved of the Stooges, but he was not. If it wasn't for Shemp leaving, there wouldn't have been a Curly, most likely.
wow.
Curly was just doing things on his own, but he wasn't doing much. It was just kind of, but he wasn't part of the act. He was in show business, but not part of the Stooges act at the beginning.
That's pretty amazing. That is pretty amazing. You're so interesting. Like, this is what I mean, you guys. I never got to sit and talk to Jeff ever.
We had a fun time. I really enjoy talking to you, Donna, and you know, people listening, and that's great. You know.
Yeah. Now they're asking me, what do you do full time? Since we found out that you've only been doing comedy for a year, which is great. But the question is, what does Jeff do full time?
Well, full time I do mortgages. I've been originating mortgages for about 33 years now, believe it or not, since 1987. So I work for Guaranteed Rate. We're a large national lender, and I do originate residential mortgages, renovation loans, refinances, anything, you know, reverse mortgages for seniors, you know, anything.
Gary Marino? Gary Marino?
I know Gary really well.
I love him.
We just opened up an office in Nutley, and so I haven't been there in a while because of the you know. So we're gonna once things get back to normal, we're gonna have a grand opening in the Nutley office, and you're invited. You know.
Yes. Want to know a fun story about me and Gary Marino?
Go ahead.
So Gary used to go to the barber that works for me, Gail, and then we got invited to his a party at his house for horse racing. What the heck is that called? You wear the hats.
Oh, you're talking about the Kentucky Derby?
Yes, thank you. I couldn't think of it. So the Kentucky Derby party. So we went to his party at his house, and I won a cooler for the most creative hat.
Wow.
I know Gary, and Gary helped me refinance my house a few years ago.
Fantastic. What a small world. Yeah, Gary's a great guy. Yeah.
He's the nicest. Please tell him I said hello.
Believe me, I will. You know, believe me. Yeah.
That is, do you see what comedy does? It brings people together.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's fantastic.
And that's crazy. That's wild. So mortgages that's what you do full time.
That's what I do full time. Allegedly. I don't know, you know.
Allegedly. Comedian. We were supposed to be on the show together on April 29th.
That's right.
And then, and I'll never forget because in March when everything went, you know, and then March I had a show that was supposed to happen, and the 18th for my mother, and then the following month was another show at at oh my gosh, I blanked, where we were supposed to have our show.
Well, the one I was supposed to do was be at the Oakley, right?
Oakley.
That was on the April 24th.
Exactly.
And you do another one over at the what's the one?
Dale Tavern.
Dale Tavern, yeah.
And it's crazy because I was so excited.
Yeah, me too. I was looking forward to that, you know.
But we're going to work together again anyway. But this is such a cool supplemental. I'm so excited that you said yes.
I'm glad you had me on the show. Believe me, this is great. I really enjoy it. I like the interview style too. Sometimes I'll do the shows that I'll just get into the routine, the comedy routine. I like it more. I like the give and take.
Yes, I
You're a
love
very good
learning
interviewer. You're very good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But I'm very fascinated and I love the idea of the history of what you were explaining and you're very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
You should really, really consider maybe even like doing a little recording thing for the older people or something, or because I mean, my God, I mean, you put a smile on my face. I know you put a smile on everybody listening. So,
Well, sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I don't go over well with seniors too. I did this one show once for the seniors. I was at this assisted living facility. My act was so bad, 3 people checked into hospice when I was
oh
there.
my God,
How bad it was. Oh my. You
my
know.
dad would love you. My uncles would go nuts for you.
I did this one comedy show once where I all the comics on the bill were like 70s, 80s. I think I was the youngest one there.
Uh-huh.
It was the first time on a comedy show where the comics all peed in their pants.
That's funny. I love that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There you go. My people would like to know, do you have a YouTube channel?
I don't have one set up yet, but I did. I was looking into that. I'm really behind the times when it comes to technology. I really got to get into doing things like not as bad as my father though. Yesterday, my father, we're trying to get him to come on to the family Zoom graduation party. My father was trying to get on using an Etch-a-Sketch.
Oh my God, you're so silly. Listen, you better hurry up because by the time you figure it out and you get on, all the people that know any of the impressions will be gone.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah,
I mean, like seriously. But I will tell you.
working on Justin Bieber impersonations. Or
Oh God. Do you, can people go and like your page or?
Yeah, I've always if they friend me, I always try to be put up some little funny one-liners. I'll think of I'll just be sitting there watching television. I'm getting a little bored. And I said, that's almost like a joke will come into my head. And I said, let me put it on Facebook, see what kind of reaction I get. So I'll put certain things there, especially during this pandemic, the whole quarantine. I try to brighten people up a little bit. A lot of people are depressed. I try to be. I'm kind of like the guys in the band on the Titanic. That just kept playing.
Just kept playing.
I'm just gonna keep going. So,
I love that. Now let me ask you: married or single?
I am married. Married for 7 years now.
Oh,
Me and Colleen, we're married for 7 years.
congratulations! 7 years.
That's been all great. I mean, lately, as with quarantines, it's rough. In fact, on Easter, I watched Ben-Hur and the Ten Commandments back to back. This was 9 hours of television, Donna. 9 hours of television straight. Not because I'm that religious or anything like that. I just wanted 9 hours without my wife yelling and nagging at me. That's really what it came down to.
Exactly. You're like, you can't yell during Ben-Hur. Look at you. See what they're doing. Look at the commandments. You cannot yell at me right now.
Exactly. People say, I need a haircut bad. In fact, if once you open up, Donna, I definitely want to come and have you,
work my magic.
Work your magic on my. This is the thickest. I usually keep my hair relatively short, but this morning it's getting out of hand. This morning I found a midget wrestler inside my head. I sound like Sky Low from midget wrestling.
Hopefully they're fans of the Shining Wizards podcast, because that's something else I learned about you. You're related to Kevin Garifo. You and Kevin are.
That's right, Colleen. Yeah, my wife is related. Kevin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what a coinkydinky,
I know that you're both comedians. That's awesome. And I love hanging out at Tierney's with you guys.
It's great. Yeah. So what happened was, so my wife, she volunteered to cut my hair during this quarantine. I do not want her near the cutlery with my head right there. I don't trust her,
Better your hair than if she was a moil. You know what I'm saying, right?
A moil the merrier.
That is so funny. Well, you know what?
I want to tell you something, Donna. It wasn't a good life for me. Believe me, I was circumcised by Stevie Wonder with a butcher's knife at Benihana's. That's what the life did not start off good with me. My
Oh,
rough life.
L'chaim. Oh God, that's funny.
Oh
I'm
my.
1/8 Portuguese Jew. That's what I am.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
That's why I have an affinity for the Jewish people. I
Yeah,
love
you don't want any fun, yeah.
I do. I love it. I love it. It's beshert, I'm telling you. When I
Yeah.
delivered pizza in Livingston, I dated a guy from Livingston that lived on Deal Lane,
Okay.
Josh Ravitz,
Hmm.
and he let me wear his chai. So I would wear it and I would stick whatever else I had in here and I would proudly wear the chai. So when I delivered pizza, they'd be like, "Oh no, look at this poor little Jewish girl delivering pizza. Hurry up, give her a bigger tip."
Oh, it's unbelievable.
It was it was
Yeah.
actually,
I
let
have a
me
lot
tell
of memories from Livingston.
you, yeah.
It's a great town, and just in fact, I have a good friend that was, I Dave Katz, who the fan, and he's always been in Livingston. He was mayor of Livingston for a number of years.
Cats,
Dave Katz,
Katz.
David Katz, David, they live in Livingston. They grew. I went to high school with Dave, and then we've always been just really best friends for many years. That's why I always come to his house. And
What does he do for a living? Does he do
well, he was an attorney. He's a judge now.
oh no, different
Mhm. Different one.
different
Hmm.
I guess it's probably a common name.
Yeah, it's a common name, especially in Livingston. There's
Cats.
a lot of cats.
We're overrun with cats. Is that what you're telling me?
Livingston's a lot of Jews in Livingston there. A lot of
I know.
That's it. So Livingston one of those towns. Livingston, so that's it. I remember like when I was a kid, we grew up in New Brunswick, and we wanted to move to Livingston. So we were looking around during the holidays of where in Livingston to where like a lot of the Jewish families were. So we figured do it right there in Hanukkah. You can see what the Hanukkah and the Christmas lights are. You can tell where the neighborhoods were.
Exactly.
Yeah, we weren't religious or anything like that. Although in kindergarten I went to a yeshiva. It's like the private school for Jews. It's because
On
when I
Route
was
10?
very wild, when I was a kid, when I was very little, I was very wild, very precocious, and my mother thought it'd be better I go to a private school rather than the public school in the beginning. So basically, my kindergarten was at the yeshiva in New Brunswick. It was a 4-story building. We were on the 4th floor, and I was taking the yarmulkes off the kids' heads and throwing them out the window. And it looked so people would drive down the street and they thought it was like the Japanese sending paratroopers at landing in New Brunswick. It was like,
That's
I
hysterical.
used to blindfold the bus driver. Guess who?
That's so funny.
It was very wild,
I love that about you. I love knowing this about you. We have time for one more question, Jeff.
One more. Go ahead.
We have one more question, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead. I'm open. I have nothing to do. I really, believe me, I have. As soon as we're done with this conversation, I'm going to go downstairs, and my wife's got because she likes to come upstairs where I am now to keep MSNBC on all night and just yell at Trump on television. But she likes to do it upstairs while she could still be on the computer researching, negative things on Trump on the internet while keeping MSNBC on. So
I don't even put the news on.
when I'm very, politically, I'm kind of like middle of the road. I'm like, I don't go crazy. I mean, I follow everything with politics, but I don't get too political.
I'm trying not to wrinkle.
The only thing I want to say.
Go ahead.
All I want to say is this: I've just noticed, Joe Biden does a lot of work in his basement. A lot of things going. He's streaming from his basement. There's a lot of streaming going on. You see that? He streams from the basement, but he's really bad. He misses he's off the camera. He's facing against the wall. He keeps stuttering. Just can't put 2 sentences together. It's just really bad streaming. I haven't seen streaming so bad since the last time I was at the urologist and I kept missing the cup.
Oh I was going to say maybe we should ask to see if he wants to be a guest on, and we can co-anchor that. We can co-anchor that interview.
In fact, he's constantly. I think he's going after the millennial vote because he doesn't leave the family basement.
I understand that. I probably swiped on him on a dating app at one point because those are the guys I tend to attract. Is anybody that lives in their mother's basement?
Exactly.
I don't know why, but question is, what do you love? What do you love about performing?
Mhm.
And wait, the question is, what do you love the best about performing on stage? And Wayne Newman says, "Go, Jeff."
All right, Wayne. Wayne, I've known for a long time. In fact, I was just talking about Dave Katz. Wayne's also a very good friend of Dave. So Wayne, I've known for a long time. Wayne's also in the mortgage business for many years.
Nice.
Wayne just got a new puppy too.
Oh, congratulations! I have a puppy.
Yeah, a little bearded collie puppy. They have another bearded puppy, dog, collie rather.
Do you see
So,
my dog sleeping?
hmm?
My dog is sleeping over there.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, yeah.
He's my sidekick. He's my McMahon, my Ed McMahon.
Oh, Johnny. Mm. But old Johnny Carson there,
Oh my
Johnny
God.
Carter said today that. But actually, my Larry Fine and Johnny Carson sound about the same. So, yeah.
Sounds
Anyway,
good to me.
so we're talking about like performing. People ask me, Jeff, what's the difference performing live on stage versus performing on YouTube or
The
Zoom?
streaming stuff.
Stream. What's the difference? I said realistically, it's the same for me because either way, I don't hear any laughs.
I swear to God, I knew you were going to say that. You're so wrong. People laugh at you,
Oh,
Jeff. You're so funny. It has been such a pleasure interviewing you and having you here. And hi, Frank. And congratulations, Wayne, on Phoebe. I love that name. But really, seriously, I mean, depending on how long we're in quarantine, I'd love to have you back. I mean,
all right. How about in 5 minutes? I just got to go to the bathroom and I'll come. Oh no, yeah, whenever you want me back. Believe me, I have nothing to do. To give you an idea how boring things are for me, I was at Staples last week getting a full refund for my week at a glance calendar.
I'm telling you, I want to like interview you in the afternoon when people that actually will understand the voices are awake, i.e. my dad.
Yeah, I'll come back. I do a whole bunch more.
Hilarious. I loved all the impersonations, impressions, whatever they're called.
I'll do this one real quick before we go.
All right, real quick. Okay, do it.
When I go into a buffet, like a Chinese buffet, I'm like John Wayne walking into a saloon. Like, all right, Bunky, get away from those crab legs now. Hey, Garcon, we need more General Tso's chicken I'm talking about.
Oh, you crack.
Who's John Wayne? No.
Yeah, right? Exactly. I think that's great. I hope everyone at home is applauding. I could not have been happier and more excited. I'm glad that you're here with me. Jeff, thank you so much. I'm going to put this
back down to the planet Earth now.
Yeah, well, I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel too.
I hope you put a buffet out in the green room for that. That's the least you could have done for me.
I know. Well,
spread out in the green room some little shrimp.
Maybe kosher though.
I don't keep kosher. I'm not into that. I'm not although I won't eat I won't have a glass of milk and a cheeseburger, or I have the cheeseburger, which is not. But I won't have milk. Like I don't have milk with meat. But
okay.
But I don't care about like the meat doesn't have to be kosher or anything.
Okay.
Yeah. I eat it. I'm pretty much if I can move it, I'll eat it. Or if I don't.
It's so funny. I love it. We're gonna definitely do this again. Everyone that's here, that's watching tonight, thank you so much. I will be back at 10 a.m. for story time with everyone.
All right.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Stay right where you are. We're just gonna sign off with the rest of the campers from Camp Quarantine, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night.